YouTube family, good morning. Good morning and good morning. It is Sunday, November the 15th, and I am Reverend Wendy Hamilton with the Community of Compassion coming to you with our weekly spirit talk to energize our spirits and get us through um, each and every day. I'm so happy, as usual, that you join me, that you tune in to get these messages to help motivate you, to help inspire you, and to help us feel better each and every time we get an opportunity. Okay, that's my spiel. That's my opening. As always, like, share, subscribe, all the things that you do. I greatly appreciate it. I'm up to like 215, 12 subscribers, which is really cool. For me, it's only been a few months, so I'm excited about that. But again, I put these together and I'll do these whether I have one subscriber or 1,000 because I like to have the opportunity to share motivational messages and inspirations. I posted something earlier today. I said, you know what? Joy. I'm someone who likes to spread joy and grace and peace and love. And I know all that kind of sounds kind of hooey, but that's just joy is actually my default. And so, as long as people are open to hearing it and feeling it, I'm going to continue to spread it. So, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm going to talk a little bit about the capacity for wonder. And good morning, Elizabeth. How are you? Thank you for joining. Today's topic is actually entitled The Wonder of It All. And so last week, I did a whole thing on joy because we had finally gotten to the place where we had gotten some election results that showed what I believe, in my own sort of political leanings, was a win. I was certainly, voting for Joe Biden and Kamala. So that was exciting to see, right? And after a week of watching returns come in and counting and getting that geography lesson, like I talked about last week, all of us came to know more about the states of Georgia and Nevada and Arizona than we ever cared to know. But it was a good experience all in all. And I have to say, I don't know about you, but I have had some pretty good sleep this week. I even the night after the election and leading on into the rest of the week, it was just nice to not wake up with sort of this existential dread that I was feeling. We carry tension in our bodies and sometimes don't even recognize it until it begins to release. And so I felt some of that this week. I had forgotten what that felt like, and it was marvelous. So I hope that some of you all have gotten to feel that too, because it's been a while and it was nice to feel that again. And so I've been taking more time during this week. I've noticed to observe things and care for things and like I said, be more wondrous of the fact. I was speaking with a friend of mine last night and I said, this has been such a hard year that I don't want us to lose sight of the fact that it's a wonder that we are still here. We've lost so many and we're continuing to lose people. And that's breaking, my heart, because a lot of this, I feel like, can be addressed and can be mitigated. And we have the leadership in place now because President-elect Biden has certainly committed to doing whatever he can to help beat the virus. But at the same time, he doesn't technically take over until January. And our present leadership still does not seem very interested in addressing the problem that we're having with COVID. So my prayers are for everybody that's experiencing that right now and families, because we are in a time where it's even more prevalent than it first was in the spring when it visited us. And so these are some tough days, and I want to acknowledge that. In the midst of that, I want us to try to hold on to the hope of things becoming better without dismissing how bad things are, right? There's a balance. Sometimes people think, well, how can you talk about something positive? Why are you talking about wonder and you're all joyful and the country right now is completely engulfed? Because I think we need a measure and a balance of both. Because if we all sink into despair, if we all get to a place where we feel like there's no hope and where we feel like there's no opportunity for things to improve, then they probably won't. And so we have to be sober in our thinking about what we see and be realistic. But also, I subscribe to holding on to at least a measure that things can get better, right? And so I want to share that with you all today. As dark and as bleak as it might seem and it might feel right now, there still is this hope that there is a possibility that things can begin to get better. I feel like changing our leadership is one sign of that. Look around your life and find other signs of that where things might just be okay, or you might give yourself permission to see things in a different light. Um, Last night I was watching a Netflix movie. I just had some downtime, which I don't always have, but last night I had some downtime and I was flipping through Netflix as folks would do. And I had heard about this movie, A Jingle Jangle Christmas Journey. And I felt like, hey, it's not quite Christmas yet, but there's nothing like a good Christmas movie sometimes to get us in a more joyful space and spirit. And so I turned that on and I was just amazed at what it did to kind of lift my spirits. It was light, it was jovial, it was colorful, it was all of the things that are kind of counter to what we're seeing in reality now. So it really was a good time of escape. For me in particular, as an African American woman, seeing much of the cast being African American leads also gave me a special touch, in a special sense. I can't remember growing up where I've seen an all minority, primarily led cast lead a musical. And to some, that might not be a big deal. Like, oh, of course. But if you've grown up and you've never seen that, and you never had that experience, it's hard to kind of explain how special that makes one feel to see themselves represented as a lead and carried along a storyline and carry along a theme. So I really want to encourage you all to watch that. My grandson just turned 6 months old, but trust and believe when I go to visit him this afternoon, we're going to be watching it. I don't think it's ever too soon to introduce beautiful things about joy. And the message in it really is what kind of inspired me today, because there were parts in it about what's possible if you believe, and things being attainable if we just put ourselves in a place that we can actually admit that things are possible. And so that just kind of carried over with me today. And I just want to encourage each and every person who's listening, who will listen to this, that you're a wonderful person. We're all great people. We're doing the best that we can to deal with the situations that we're in and that are being presented to us right now. But I firmly believe, and scripture says, and I posted this morning in Psalm 139, it says, I praise you, O God, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. And I love that scripture because it really speaks to not just God saying that we're fearfully and wonderfully made, but us affirming that, right? So it says, I praise you because I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful, and I know that full well. And so it's really kind of a declaration of sorts that we're saying that, you know what, God, I might not be perfect. And I might have a few quirks here and there, and I might not necessarily be the nicest person all the time, but I do know that I am created to be what you wanted me to be. You took your time to pour your grace and your love and your joy into creation. Each and every one of us is unique in our own way. And that's what fearfully means. Fearfully means reverently. It's not this, the scared kind of fearfully. No, it's more of this, you were reverently and wonderfully crafted and made. And that in and of itself is special. to know that time was taken and put into you to create you into the unique being that you are. And it's not just for you to say, hey, well, look how special and unique and fearfully made I am. That's a part of it because that's you affirming your worth and affirming your value. But it's also then for you to take some of that and to share it and to affirm it in other people. You know, the human body, our human lives is a wonder, the wonder of it all. When you think about how we've made it through some of these tough experiences, when you think about your own life, I think the human body itself is an amazing machine. I mean, when you think about the fact that our brain communicates to our lungs to remind us to breathe, and our heart is sort of the epicenter for everything else. When you think about the fact that we all have individual fingerprints that separate us, you know, that each and every one of us, no one has the same set of fingerprints. How'd that happen? When you think about the fact that your body will let you know when it's not feeling good. That's what symptoms are. You know, headaches sometimes is just your body saying, I'm dehydrated, give me some water. It doesn't necessarily mean go grab the Aleve or the Advil. That's a whole nother talk. But I'm just saying to you, take some time today to sort of reflect on the wonder that is you and the wonder that is life. You know, I was outside a little bit on yesterday, you know, can't go really far because, as I said, the COVID numbers are rising. But when's the last time you just kind of sat on your porch or your stoop or just stepped outside and noticed how beautiful the fall foliage is right now? Lovely, you know, or took notice of you know, a butterfly flying by you. And I know this might sound kind of cheesy and kind of corny, but really, we get so busy and so bogged down and so consumed by all of the negativity that's around us, it can drown out those very little, small, beautiful things that remind us of the wonder that's still available in this life. When's the last time you lost yourself in the wonder of it all? In just the sheer possibility of what life could, can, and hopefully will be as we continue on a path toward finding ourselves and realizing sort of the dream that was placed inside of us from the time of creation. I know this may sound like, what is she on this morning? I don't even care because I want to share this. This is part of joy is my default. And this is what I do. I want to encourage people. I want to infuse you with some of the sense of wonder that I have. It's not always there. I don't want to suggest somehow I'm a machine and that I don't have feelings and I don't have rough days or times where I even doubt or feel discouraged. I do. I totally do. But I like to think, as I said earlier, that joy is more of my default. So even when I sort of move over into another space, eventually I default back to joy. Because I think that if we have calm and we have peace and we have joy at our center, then that is where ultimately we will return to, even if we float out here into anxiety and into hopelessness and into despair. So give yourself today permission to look around you and take in the wonder, particularly of the fact that 11 and a half months precisely into one of the most difficult years that we have ever had. Well, I can speak to the 52 years I've been alive. This is one of the most challenging, difficult years I've ever lived in my entire life. And though it's been hard and I've suffered loss of friends, family members who have struggled, you know, jobs, monies, all of those kinds of things, I'm still here. We're still here. And that's going to mean something. I said to my friend, like I said last night, by the time we make it to 2021, just looking back and being able to look back on 2020 and say, somehow we made it, is going to be a wonder in and of itself. Now, again, that is not to forget or dismiss those who haven't made it. We've lost, 250,000 people. I don't even know what the number is. I try not to even look at it too much because it's overwhelming. Not to ignore it, but it's overwhelming. Even on Twitter, they have a thread. It's called the Faces of COVID, and it's a thread dedicated to those that we've lost, and it gives families of those we've lost opportunity to send in information and pictures about their loved one, so that we don't forget that these were actual people. Our healthcare workers are really struggling. They're the ones that are right there on the front lines trying to take care of everything. And so they may not necessarily want to hear much about wonder or joy or any kind of message like that this morning. And I get that, and I respect them for that. And we tremendously respect and thank them for sacrificing their own lives in order to try to help get this under control. So please be mindful that when you are allowing yourself to experience wonder, it's okay. Just being sensitive to those that are around you, that they may not be in a place where they can relate to you on that right now. My belief is and always will be that at some point we can all aspire to that place, because I believe when God created each and every one of us, that he created us with a sense of peace and joy internally, and it's been our responsibility to do whatever we can to tap into that, especially when we need it, right? So that's my charge for you today, is to find the wonder in your life. And what is wonder? I'm not putting it out there as a cliche, but wonder is the capacity, the ability to be in awe. Like when you look up and you see a rainbow, or, when's the last time that something causes you to feel a sense of awe and reverence and, oh my goodness, did you see that? Did you taste that? Oh my goodness, how did that happen? Oh, I am amazed. Allow yourself to be amazed, to be wowed, to be speechless, to be made speechless by the beauty of something, by the occurrence of something, by the existence of something. The center of my joy, or at least part of the center of my joy, is my grandson. And there's something about the innocence and the awe that even babies can see. He just turned 6 months this week. And sometimes, we introduced him this week to baby food, right? So he's been on formula this entire time. And at 6 months exactly, we decided to introduce him to baby food. And you should have seen his face when he first got a taste of food. I think we gave him like sweet potatoes or something, and his face was like, what is this that I have discovered? He loved it. He was pulling at the spoon, trying to pull it in his mouth. And so it's even that simplistic, that sense of experiencing something new for the first time and actually liking it and discovering that it's really great. That's the kind of awe, that's the kind of wonder that I am encouraging you to seek out today, because I do think that it's available to us even in the midst of these dark days. And if you and I can tap into it for ourselves, then we certainly can help lead others to be able to do the same when they're ready, right? When they're ready. So, geez, time flies really fast. Thank you guys so much, as always, for joining in. I appreciate you, love you so much. You are the reason why I smile on these Sundays and get a chance to share and to remain connected to ministry and to God. Have a great rest of your weekend and a wonderful week. We will be here again next Sunday, probably talking about Thanksgiving and gratefulness and all that good stuff. But until then, be blessed, be well. Love you all. Take care, and see you again next week. Bye-bye now.